Welcome to part 2 of week 3 GA325 corporate campaigns. In this slide, we'll talk about typographic color. Type color can emphasize words or paragraphs. It's another way to help emphasize and draw the attention that you want. So larger or overlapping type looks closer than smaller type, as you can kind of see here in the flyer over on the right side. Our event is the biggest, so it kind of looks closer to you and much bigger than the smaller text that says "You're awesome." Event description right here. Darker colors appear closer than lighter colors, so you can look at our event again, and that red darker color is much darker than that lightish kind of brownish color, so it kind of looks a little closer, a little bigger. And then also heavy weight on type appears closer than lightweight too, right? So the thicker the text, the more close that it looks to you. So those are some different ways that you can help emphasize text. Either make it darker, make it larger, make it heavier, thicker, and kind of have those in your repertoire of different composition skills to use. Bold, heavy type emphasizes and increases intensity, as you can kind of see here in the bullet point. Italicized type appears to speed up the rhythm of the words, also increasing the emphasis just because it's kind of slanted to the right, and in a sense it kind of creates that little bit of feeling of motion in a sense. Condensed type takes up less space and in turn can speed up the tempo or reading pace. Again, kind of similar to italicized, where it creates motion in a sense because it's pushing those words closer together, kind of in a sense makes it seem like it's going faster in that way. Visual hierarchy of type. Determining the importance of each element of type on a page. The artist and client determine what is the most important element, what is the second most important element, what is the third, all the way down to the least. And that's going to give you a good idea of how to use those techniques, which ones are going to be bigger, which ones are going to be smaller, and how you can implement color and weight into that to be able to draw your audience's attention to those certain things first, second, and third. The most important is usually the headline, right? And then we have the subhead, which is maybe a sentence or two that kind of describes everything. And then you have your body copy, which is the smallest text usually, and it's the majority of the text. And then you have your certain call-outs, and call-outs could be like quotes or so, and those are going to be a little bigger than the body copy and such, right? So you can kind of see how there's that hierarchy of most important all the way down to, I don't want to say least important, but in terms of importance, more like what's important to see first, second, and third. Here are some ways to emphasize certain elements. Increasing the importance of typographic elements can be done by using one or more of these variations. More weight, as you can see for this Design Culture Now flyer, the title there, very thick text, right, to kind of help emphasize it. Location, notice the location, it's at the top, it's the first text you see. Usually when we start reading something on a page, our eyes gravitate towards the top, and then more specifically, the top left, because that's how we start to read, and we go down that way. So adding a title at the top kind of helps with emphasis as well. Adding space around the element, well, there's a little bit of space around it, as you can kind of see because the text is so big. Size or proportion, again, you can see the text is large. There's a little bit of overlap too, as you can see, and that kind of helps connect that title together. Texture, this one's just a flat, solid color, but sometimes the texture can be, some sort of gradient or a pattern, something like that. Those are things that can be used as well. Color, again, with these you want to use some contrasting colors, and as you can see, the very background color is like a orangish shape or orangish color, so it's a mid-tone. So you either are going to use a dark colors or light colors for the text, and as you can see, design culture is a darker color choices, and then the now is a lighter color choice. Both of those give, or all three of those, give enough contrast from the background to kind of help be emphasized. Italics and condensed type. I think maybe some condensed type. I don't think italics are being used at all in this design, but condensed type might be in the body copy or so to kind of keep them within those little thin text blocks. And contrast. All of the text on this page are contrast, have good contrast from the background to kind of help emphasize it. So light and dark, you always want to use that combination. You don't want to put light text on a light background, be hard to read. Visual hierarchy of all elements. Order of importance for all visual elements on a given page. The graphic artist may feel the title of the book is the most important part of the book because it's a classic, and the author may be the second part. Feel that's the second most important, and then the photo would be third. If that's the case, this is how it's set up. As you can see, A Tale of Two Cities is much bigger, and then a little less bigger would be your Charles Dickens, the author, and then the photo is even smaller, right? That's a design choice. However, if the designer felt that maybe the picture is the biggest picture, and then the text, and then the picture, then the title, then the author, you might see that little photo be almost as large as the whole page, and then The Tale of Two Cities could be about the same size, and maybe Charles Dickens could be a little bit smaller, and that stuff could be pushed down to the bottom of the page. So really, you're using all three of the same elements, you're just changing the size, and that changes kind of the overall look and feel of the design. Avoid emphasizing all elements in different ways. They may fight for the reader's attention. Avoid using too many aspects of emphasis on one item. Using scale and color may just be enough. So here's some overemphasized stuff. Just the colors that are being used are all really bright and coming at you at once, and it just seems a little bit chaotic, right? So with the one over on the right, as you can see, it's a little bit more subtle. The background's a subtle color. There's some good, contrast of the shape colors. And then you do have some good contrast with the text, because that text is kind of emphasized outside of that shape, because those shape yellow colors are a lighter color, so it's best to use a darker color, right? But you don't want too many bright colors fighting for your attention and such. Captions, tables, and lists. Caption is a short description of an image on a page, usually below the picture. Tables are columns and rows of data that will have important areas of information to be emphasized. And use text, location, weight, or color bars to emphasize data in tables or lists. That concludes this part of the presentation.